Alrighty, so for week 12, and I know I'm moving ahead a little bit, but as I've said, I'm traveling. Oh, I'm in the wrong course. I'm traveling the week of week 12, day 12 in our class. So I wanted to record this video to give you the heads up, and I definitely recommend you watch this before you do the code up for this week. Okay, and also I'll move that up as an encouragement. So in this section, you're going to deploy. Um, in this case, he shows you how to do the web server that we built along with him, and which is fine. Do that. Do know when he goes through the GitHub setup that you don't need to do that, the GitHub setup part, because we've already done that at the beginning of the semester. But what you do need to go through is when he sets up the SSH keys. Okay, so I definitely recommend watching all of it. Definitely where he shows you how to install Heroku, and he talks about that. You've already installed GitHub, so you don't have to do that. You can go ahead and watch, if you want a good review of GitHub, exploring it as well. And then here's where he's setting up the SSH keys. And then he shows you how to push to GitHub. Again, you already know how to do that. But deploying to Heroku, that's the part you want to definitely slow down, pay attention, and do each step. And then he'll have you add a feature. And actually, I still need to complete these last two, but I thought it's important that I stop here because what's going to happen, and I've actually put this in the video below here, is that because of the way, and this is what I'm saying in here, we've set up the folders, what you're going to need to do is at the place that he's going to say git push Heroku master, it's not going to work for our directory structure. So what you want to do, and there's probably another way you could do this, maybe by opening, well, no, because it actually, what's going to happen is when he does the git push to Heroku master, it's going to look at the root of wherever your git has been created. So when you get, I know that's redundant, to that command, you can try it, it'll error out, but then use this. And what you want to do is actually go into the root. So run, and this is what I'm saying here, run it from the root of wherever your repo is starting from. So I'm going to show you what mine is, right? And then and change the, oh yeah, and then in here, this is actually what you want to change to whatever folder you're wanting to push, okay? So in the case of pushing what we had done with him following along, you would do, depending on, you may have named your directory a little different. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things I probably in hindsight would have done differently, is actually done this because, anyway, I'm not going to relitigate that right now. So I just wanted to give you an example of then pushing that up. Okay. And I made sure it worked. So I actually ended up, and I want you to actually do his weather, the server first, and then attempt to do your own develop 3, right? But I'm not going to make that a requirement, but that will most likely be part of the review once we get there. So I would say as just a way to explore and make sure you got everything done, go through all the commands. Again, I'm going to say carefully watch this because there's a lot of just, technical commands here. Then if you miss one thing, it will throw you off. So even though you don't have to do the GitHub stuff, do watch it all so you make sure you got all the commands, okay, and all the setup done. And I ended up doing it. I had to do it, of course, because of my Chromebook. I did it on Linux. It worked fine. So I hope you won't run into any issues. But here's the other thing, is that Heroku documentation is great. Matter of fact, when I was just looking around, Heroku, oh yeah, that was the first one, download Debian version, right? So that was pretty easy. And then pushing master to subdirectory, that I found, actually in that case, I think I ended up finding it out on Stack Overflow. As a matter of fact, here's where I found it, was the, how to a subdirectory to get my Git repo to Heroku. Okay, so this is really fun when you get it done because you get the glorification of going to the web and seeing your app out there, right? So that's totally fun. So the other thing I would say here, so that's it. These commands I hope help. Again, Google is your friend here. Heroku's got great documentation, great support all over the web. So you should be able to find that stuff. The other thing I would just say as an FYI is that because this is a relatively short section and some of it we don't really have to do because we've already done, but it's still good to follow through. You could actually start on the next section some where time allows, because this one's a little longer. So where I think this one was the one we just went to was a little over an hour. This one's 2 hours and 23 minutes. So, if you can find the time, go ahead and move into this section. So you're starting to work on that, because this also, and this will be interesting because I haven't done this on my Linux as well, will require some setup. But look, he's going to walk you through it on Mac and Linux, and then on Windows, and this is where you're installing MongoDB. Okay, so just wanted to give you that heads up for week 12, and I hope you have a great one, and I'll talk to you soon.